See if I can make this go sideways. There we go. All right. Hello, my name is Kirsten Foss, and I own Refreshed Businesses Coaching and Consulting. I am a spa business coach for the salon and spa industry. And hi, Glamourful. Nice to see you. Today I want to talk about, I often talk about social media marketing or just marketing in general. But today in particular, I wanted to talk about how we use Facebook groups as professionals. And man, are they ever a great resource to have? But, sometimes they can come with a downfall. It's kind of weird doing this horizontal rather than vertical with the Periscope. It's the first time I'm trying to do that. So my eyes kind of want to wander with the comments coming in. I'm going to move this a little bit there. Perfect. All right, so Facebook groups, and maybe you're taking too much of their advice. Hold on, I need to block somebody. There we go. Now here's the thing. These Facebook groups can be an absolute amazing resource, but they can also kind of get us into a little bit of trouble. So I want to talk a bit about the pros and cons about using Facebook groups for your professional needs, your professional resource. Now the pros are, it's an amazing resource to be able to connect with other spa owners and other salon owners, people who are sharing the same experiences that we are. When I first got into the spa industry over 20 years ago, there was really no way for other spa owners to really connect and share ideas and brainstorm. And it was really, really lonely feeling. And so, unless you were a really big company or you had a lot of money that you could afford a consultant, because in, those days it was like you either had to have really big bucks for the consultants or you were kind of on your own. And that was a really lonely feeling, and not only lonely, but it could be, it really affected how you could run your business. If you didn't have the resources to get help in your business, you really just were flying blind. That's kind of how I came up the ranks. And it really, quite frankly, pissed me off that I knew that there was thousands and thousands and thousands of other spa owners out there who are going through the exact same stuff as I am. And yet, there was really no way to connect with each other. There's spas in my local area, but those spa owners were not wanting to share any of their experiences with me. So, what we've got now with these Facebook groups, amazing resource to be able to share these similar experiences, to be able to brainstorm with each other, and to offer support to each other. Super valuable. That has the opportunity to take your business to the next level if you know how to use it. The cons, though, and this is what I really want to talk about today, is that, if I've actually seen some flat out, really bad advice being given in some of these groups. And, it's not intentional. I really don't think it's intentional, but they just don't know that it's not great advice at all. And it just makes me cringe when I see some comments, when a spa owner posts a question in a group, and you can tell it's a really vulnerable question. They're asking for help. And then depending on what kind of group you're in and what kind of people are in this group, you can get either flat out bad advice, you can get conflicting advice from so many different people, and you can get people who are just, blatantly not supportive. And if you're not a very confident business owner to begin with, that can really cause some serious damage to you confidence-wise. So, it's the cons that really worry me about the Facebook groups. Because if you're not feeling confident to begin with, and then you get people who are in there that are unsupportive or making fun of you or just making, not really it's not even nice. It's just like, it's been like, there's no filter on some people, and they just, type in what they're thinking rather than kind of thinking it through and maybe thinking about how this could be perceived or how this could affect somebody's confidence. So, if you're not confident to begin with and you get that negative part of the Facebook groups, it can really put you in a big hot mess. And that hot mess looks a lot like a lot more stress, a lot more overwhelm. And really what it comes down to is that you stop trusting yourself. And that's a problem. A lot of the spa owners that I coach privately, this is one of the first kind of walls that I come up against, is that they've got a lot of questions for me, and they want answers, and that's great. I don't mind doing that. But what I find is that I don't want them to become dependent on me. I want my private coaching clients, I want my spa owners to be able to think for themselves. And when I mean think for themselves, I mean like critical thinking. So often what I'm doing when I've got a new private coaching client is I have to do a little bit of deprogramming, because they're so used to relying on other people's advice, the good and the bad, and they don't know how to differentiate between that sometimes, is that they've completely stopped trusting their own inner voice about their business. And so once I kind of get through some deprogramming with them, all of a sudden their ability to think critically in their business just blossoms. So what do you do about this? Well, my advice is, because I know a lot of you are in so many groups, like a lot of groups, that I really don't think you need to be in all those groups, to be quite frank. I think that by being a part of so many groups will add to overwhelm. You don't necessarily know all these people very well. And again, they might be giving you bad advice or not completely good advice, but you don't know how to pick that apart. And so what I'm saying is that you have to, number one, take what you are reading in these groups with a grain of salt. And you need to step away from it and not take it as, oh, that person did this and it worked. Because that might not necessarily work for your specific business. There's so many variables that happen in a business. So take what you're reading with a grain of salt, step away from it, and start thinking critically about it. Use your own problem solving skills. So if you've posted something, about, trying to rustle up some business, say, for the Christmas season, I want you to read what people are saying and what they're writing, but to think through the whole process of what they are, what they're talking about, rather than just thinking, oh, okay, well, that worked for them and I'm going to try that. And then what happens is that you go through the process and you realize, oh, that's not really working for me. But you could have averted that by just mentally going through your head to see if that would work for your business. Okay. So because you're in so many groups, first of all, I think you should leave a lot of groups. And if that means, I have the Spa Business Mastery Facebook group, and I am full on saying that if you are in complete overwhelm mode with all of these groups, you got to cut them all out, including mine. I don't mean forever. I just mean you need some time to be able to start thinking with your own brain. You've got some good critical thinking in there. You've got some good skills in there. You have an inner voice in there. And what's happened is that we've often it starts getting chipped away at us as we're listening to what other people are telling us to do. Okay, so number one, cull all the groups you're in. So there's probably one or two groups that you consistently go to, that you trust the people that are in there. Then just leave it to those few groups. But, if you're in overwhelm mode, you need to cut it all out. I mean, this is very similar to what happens when we sign up for a lot of different stuff on people's websites. I'm constantly culling my subscriptions because, when I sign up for them, they're relevant, or I think they're relevant, or I think, oh, I want to sign up for it because I might need this down the road. And then what happens is I've got an inbox full of all this subscription stuff. You can buy this. I'm offering this, all these blogs you can read. And then you're in overwhelm mode. So this goes for your Facebook groups or your email subscriptions. Start cutting out of them. Okay. Like I said, not forever. What I would suggest is going on a detox for about a month. Because what you'll notice is that once you're not listening to what everybody else is telling you what you should do, is you'll start hearing your own inner voice. And when you start hearing your own inner voice, which could be like, hey, I've got this idea for something. Rather than going to a Facebook group saying, hey, I've got this idea for something. What does everybody think about it? And then all of a sudden you're totally affected by what everybody's saying, so maybe some people are like, oh, I did that. That's stupid. Oh, that didn't work. That's their experience. It's not necessarily what your experience is going to be. Okay. So it's really hard. You got to weed the bad from the good, but it's hard when you don't know what the bad from the good is. Okay. So stay with a couple that you can trust and start trying to develop your own problem solving and your own critical thinking skills. It's not going to come like, you're going to quit your groups and snap overnight. You're all of a sudden going to be able to start thinking clearly about your own business and your own stuff and your own ideas and your own creativity. It just means that you'll give it a little bit of space, a little bit of breathing room. I think you could probably use that, especially right now, right before the holidays. I know you guys are feeling totally overwhelmed right now, whether you're super busy or whether you're not busy and you are panicking about how you're going to pay next month's rent or how you're going to pay this month's, expenses and your vendors and all that kind of stuff. Okay. Really what this boils down to is about your own confidence, and our confidence gets eroded when we're in fear mode. And when we're in fear mode, we're not trusting our own selves. We're not trusting that inner voice. So, that inner voice is probably wanting to say, I'm over here. I've been trying to tell you something for a little while. We need quiet for that. And the digital clutter that is on our phones and on our inboxes and on our social media platforms, it distracts us from being able to think clearly. Okay. So I just really want you to think about what these Facebook groups are giving you, okay? And maybe it's time for a little bit of a digital detox on the groups so that you can start thinking clearly on your own. Okay, that is today's Periscope. And last week I talked about how Periscope, kind of my wins and my struggles about Periscope. And that I was planning on not doing Monday to Friday Periscopes, but doing more of twice a week, because that's something I can manage better. And I'd like to go kind of deeper into content. And so I scoped Monday. I was planning on scoping Wednesday, but I had a death in the family. My grandma passed. And so I'm back this week. I plan on doing Mondays and Wednesdays on Periscope. And so that I hope you join me for the next Periscope on Wednesday. Probably do like a lunchtime. I'm in Pacific time in Victoria, so I'll probably do like another lunchtime Periscope. And if you are not overwhelmed with Facebook groups and you're feeling like you're on track and you don't need a digital detox, you can certainly ask to join my group. It's Spa Business Mastery. And I'm actually just working on a new course starting in January on how to create your own branded content specifically for spas. So that's what I'm working on the next couple of weeks. If you are already on my email list, you're going to be getting an email in the next couple of days, just starting to give you a little bit more information about it and probably an early bird opportunity. That course will be starting on Monday, January 12th. I think that's the date. And no, it's 11th, Monday, January 11th. It'll be an email course, which means that every week for 5 weeks, an email will be sent for your teaching will be sent to you in your inbox, and you can watch and learn at your own pace. So that's it for Periscope today. Thanks for joining me, you guys. And you can find me on Kirsten Foss on Refreshed Businesses. And for those of you that have been joining me a little bit later in the Periscope, I am a spa and salon business coach. I teach the business side of the spa industry because, man, we need help. It's a tough gig to make money at. It's a really tough gig to make profits. And we need all the help we can get, help and support we can get to be financially independent, because quite honestly, you guys have probably heard me talking a lot about, finding out what your why is, discovering your why, getting to know your why in your business. My why is I want women, especially women, to be financially independent, because when you are financially independent, you have choices. So that is my why. That's what I do, why I do what I do. Okay, thanks for joining me, and we'll see you on Periscope on Wednesday or on social media. You can find me at Kirsten Foss Refreshed Businesses on Facebook. Okay, see you then.